You have to be self-aware about your own reality sometimes. I feel like as humans, we're self-aware, so we could grow, learn, and become better, and we adapt and we keep going. And some people become self-aware because some things click all of a sudden. It almost feels kind of like when you're evolving and you don't know what to feel, and it doesn't feel like you. Like you might be at a party and you get that buzz and it hits you and you're like, damn, like what am I doing in my life? You become self-aware at that moment. But or even when you're not buzzed, sometimes you're just working and you're bored and then you hit your job and something just clicks, like you don't feel right. Something's not right in your life. You could have some self-awareness as emotional, self-acceptance, um understanding your impact, um and even some of your personal values change. You don't have the same values you had 10 years ago when you were 10 years old. Being mindful of these things, of you wanting to grow and evolve, they're important for your journey and your path to personal growth. I was When I was 17, something clicked in my mind out of a sudden. I can't remember where, but I remember some of my last 2 weeks in Mexico. I used to live in Mexico, and I was there for 10 years, and my whole teens almost I was there, and I made friends all the way to high school, and I was living by myself all the time. I was drinking, inviting people over and going out a lot. My dad would give me money to eat. He'll give me money so I could go to a grocery shop, grocery store, and buy food. And I would just save it so on the weekend I could go drink, and then I'll buy pizza or whatever. And sometimes I wouldn't even eat. And I was in school and I wasn't really good at school. It was my dad was paying a tuition to go at that Catholic school, and and I just felt so bad that my dad was working so hard to pay for this nice school that I wanted to go, and I was really putting in even the work in. And you know, when you start thinking about those things and you start thinking about your parents, it's just like you just want to do the best so you can make them proud. And it's tough. It's never easy to make your parents proud because they know that you have so much potential. I started to think what I wanted to do after school, even if I graduated that high school, because I honestly didn't know if I was gonna graduate or not, because it was a good high school, and they asked for you a lot. They were very strict, and I was like, I don't think school is for me. And that small town I used to live at, it was really hard. It was a lot of lack of opportunity, and So after my first year of high school, I told my dad, after 2 weeks of the end of school, I told him, hey, well, 2 weeks before leaving school or the ending of the year, I told him, hey, I want to move to the US. And I told my dad, and he said, yeah, I'll support you. You know, if you want to go, you could go. There's a place to stay and everything. And I decided to come. You know, I had the opportunity. Why not? I had I had nothing for me there going on. Education bad. Um, I didn't have any family at that town, small town. But my grandma came to that town from somewhere else, and I didn't have like not one single cousin there. And it was like a town of 50,000 people, and all my friends, and they had big families. And when I only had my grandma and my sister in the whole town. And so it was rough and to think about a future and comparing myself to to my friends and seeing, wow, they have a lot going on, like their family, and they all have things they could rely on, and they, even if they don't do well, they still have a future, and they have family for support that they could lean on. And I remember, I don't know how it happened so quick that I was so comfortable, and in my brain something just snapped, and I was like, I'm leaving. I'm getting the fuck out of here. Like, I cannot be staying here one more day. And I had a lot of friends, and I didn't even get to say bye to all of them. It's been a long time, and I haven't seen them at all. A lot of them, and never said bye. I had friends that were my friends for 10 years and did not say bye to nobody. Only my close, very very close ones. And when you realize your situation and start thinking, is this what you want? Well, I was start thinking, what can I do to change? What am I gonna do? I'm not gonna be stuck in here like that. That's what I started asking myself, like what the hell are you doing? So I left. I learned that the only person that wants the really, really best for you, or the only person that can do the best for you, is yourself. Sure, your dad wants the best for you, he could help, your mom, whatever. But when it comes down, ultimately, who is gonna change your life, it's gonna be you. And I took that step, and it was a big step. I didn't have really any money. As soon as I got here, I started to work at a factory, and food factory. And I saved a couple bucks, and I started my journey. It was a very weird and scary and weird and exciting time for me, because looking back, I started to think in ways that I didn't think at all. And I was barely 17, and not I felt like a discomfort in my body, like nothing was right. And when you start feeling like that, it's just not that you feel hopeless, but you see no your the vision of the future is kind of blurry. Like, okay, I have no idea what I'm gonna do. And it's a good thing and a bad thing. Could be a bad thing because it's always better to know what you want to do next and have a plan and execute. But we don't have nothing then you're open to everything. When you have nothing, you're open to everything, and that's what I did. I started to, I've dabbled with a lot of online stuff, like online businesses, and just trying my own thing, and they they haven't failed really because they never got that far, but I tried and I learned, and you know, and I'm still learning. I don't know what happened, it just stopped. I remember when I was thinking too much about stuff, things weren't working out, and I got into a little bit of a depression of not knowing what I wanted to do. I still haven't even graduated high school at that time. I was like, damn, I can't even study because I work. I'm tired. I didn't have a car. It's just so many things that at the time I thought they were such a big problem, but now looking back, I could have done more. And one thing I would say was I was kind of beating myself all the time. And sometimes you could be so self-conscious of yourself, so self-aware that it doesn't let you move forward because you're just thinking and going and doesn't stop. And some things that have helped me is like working out or picking up a hobby, reading books, kind of distract your mind, not be just in a mode of just not doing anything and just basically just not doing anything. You gotta do something. It's always good to have hobbies, and you never know, maybe that hobby that you discover that you knew nothing about, that you didn't even know if you were gonna like it, you never had interest in, it's gonna be the one that changes your life. There's a lot of things that people have become successful from that after they're like 30 years old and they started painting, and after they got so obsessed that they never knew that they liked painting, that they just become famous. Or even sports players are like boxers that start fighting at 30, and that's when 30 is like at your peak, and you start learning at 30 and then they become world champs at 35 because they were just so obsessed, they never knew they loved it. Or always, it's always good to explore your taste and stuff. I've gone out into a lot. I did jiu-jitsu for 2 years. It was awesome. Like, I watch MMA. I love it all the time. I started getting to running now. I wasn't really a guy who liked to run, but I think running is a sport that where you don't have to think too much about the task. It's just running and keep going, but then in your head you could be having a conversation or thinking about something. So kind of like that dynamic of going, just running and going on automatic, and then your mind is kind of like doing like two tasks at once kind of thing. I got into reading too a little bit more. I think reading is also another thing that got me to be even more self-aware of of myself, to expose myself to what kind of person I was, my personal values. One that I recommend a lot is the 12 Rules for Life from Jordan Peterson, his first book. Nice first book as in published, but the volume one. I've read the second one, but I prefer the first one a lot. Um, that one for sure changed my life a lot. Started being more. I started to think about those things that the book said, and it's never a bad thing to want to change. If you're afraid of change, then you're just gonna be stuck and be the same person forever. And we're meant to change. We're humans, adapt to anything, and we're always gotta keep striving for more, and always strive to be a better human. So one last thing I would say again was, if you're one of those people that overthink or are very self-conscious or self-aware, try to not be so self-critical. Give yourself a little break. Start slow. Write down what you feel, and then why you feel like that, and then if you could change it, do it. Start slow. Say if you want to start running, go around the block. Start walking. You don't gotta run. Go for a walk every day for a week or two, and then start jogging. You gotta go at a slow pace to start jogging. If you want to write, and just write half a page, 1 page. Everything's about going slow. And sometimes when I started writing a little bit in my journals, I always had an ability to write, but I never said, oh, I like to write. It was just in me, kind of. I'll start writing for half a page, and then my mind, boom, 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 boom. I'll start writing like 3 pages all of a sudden in 5 minutes. It's like, damn, your mind has so much, like, because of social media and your phone, we're seeing things 24/7 now, and your mind can only take so much information, that you need to write those things down of the things you feel, because when we're just going on with our lives, sometimes we need to take a break from thinking and knowing what we feel, and journaling or diary, whatever. It gives you a moment of self-reflection, and so it's kind of like meditating but writing. And you should always not underestimate the power of writing, and how can you use it for self-reflection, and to be self-aware of who you are as a person, and maybe you could change and you could become better. That's the whole point. All right, thanks for watching.